The sign says Cowboy Music Store. Look through the window. Looks like a music store. Guitars on the walls, old banjos, a potpourri of musical instruments, new and old. Looks like a music store, but when you walk through this door, you take a step back in time, when friends entertain their neighbors. This is the Cowboy Opry.
And you ain't woman enough to take my man.
It's not the Grand Ole Opry, but most Thursday nights sounds a lot like it.
Country, gospel, bluegrass, and some old rock and roll, and some that's good and some that's bad.
I mess up a lot, but I just go on. And they accept it.
Applause after every song. Bring your favorite musical instrument,
King of the road.
and play if you feel like it.
If you want to do it, you can. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. You can just sit out here and listen to it.
These music lovers snap their fingers and cherish the simpler life.
Every time we come, we just have a great time.
I enjoy every minute of it.
Well, it's a good night of entertainment that you can't find just anywhere.
Every Thursday night, starting at 7, you can enjoy the music. And there's dinner. Somebody even brought dessert.
Well, I thank Homer for bringing that. I appreciate that. Give him a big hand for that.
They'll deliver coffee to your table. And everything, that's right, everything's free. Just gives it away.
It just comes from the heart. And I love music, and I love people, so I love helping people. It's just, that's all I can say, you know. It's hard to explain it any other way. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's a mission God gave me or something, I don't know.
No doubt about this, Alan Wooten loves people, and people love Alan.
He's a sweetheart.
I think he's a nice fella.
Alan is so nice, to everybody, makes everybody feel welcome.
Thursday nights at the Cowboy Opry, almost like a weekly family reunion, and everyone's welcome.
It's a blessing to me, and it's a blessing to them. So it's all about giving, and they give, and I give, and everybody else gives. And, it's just joy is all it is.
These kids love to play, love to perform, and they love to travel.
Last year we went to Dallas, so this is one of our bigger trips.
Senior Adrian Smith remembers his favorite trip.
That would have to be Disney World, my freshman year. That was pretty cool. We got to go to a Disney recording studio.
Every band needs a great leader, and these students love their band director, Doug Blevins.
1, 2, ready, go!
If it wasn't for Mr. Blevins, I don't think I would have as good of a band experience as I have had.
Sophomore Alicia Contreras plays the clarinet, and she's ready to go.
I just joined band because I thought it would be fun, and we get to march around and just do things that I always thought were fun.
So before they take off for New Orleans, the band thought they'd warm up a little bit, but trust me, these kids are ready to go.
I'm really looking forward to the parade and then when we go into the Superdome, but I always like with the trips that you get a lot closer with all your friends in band.
Best part of this trip, is just hanging out with the drum line,
But first, they must endure 12 hours on a bus.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
12 hours in a bus. Yeah, that sounds like fun. But the real fun is Saturday afternoon, the longest parade these students have ever played in by far.
The parade is 6 miles long.
Our normal parade lengths, they last for close to an hour. And this one's going to be 5 hours.
After the parade, they'll eat, and then it's back on the bus for another 12 hours. But I don't think anybody will be complaining. In Rogers, Scott Miller, 5 News. Oklahoma Honor Flights. Their mission is simple. Transport Oklahoma veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit those memorials dedicated to honor their service and sacrifice. And what they experienced was one unlikely and impromptu hero's welcome after another all day long. The engines were roaring, still dark, as the 91 men and 2 women began boarding the plane. There were pictures to be taken, the first of so many. They started sharing stories before they'd even made it to the plane. Travel is a little more challenging these days, and for some, wheelchairs are a necessity. Nobody seemed to care because today is a day like no other.
I had never been to Washington, and everything was new to me. I enjoyed the whole trip. Everything. Even the plane.
Jack survived the Bataan Death March. He's flown all over the world, and he didn't want to miss this trip. Neither did Gunnar Johnson, a Marine injured in the Battle of Iwo Jima. He wanted to see the Marine Corps Memorial, known by most as the Iwo Jima Memorial. It's been there for 58 years. But at his age, he says he never thought he'd get to see it.
I hadn't been much past Oklahoma City, but I'd always wanted to go to see that. I wanted to see that.
On this day, the 86-year-old would get his wish. The plane was nearly filled to capacity. Veterans were given blue shirts. Guardians wore red shirts. Guardians were there to help. They were sons and daughters, nieces and nephews. And most of those that weren't family members were veterans too. First stop, Baltimore Washington International Airport. It was also the first of many opportunities to honor the vets. Just as soon as they stepped off the plane, members of the Air Force were there, shaking hands, and the words, "Thank you for your service," were uttered literally hundreds of times. Just inside the terminal, more men and women in uniform. This time, the Navy. Fanny Worthen was an Army nurse. Her late husband, Rodney, served in the Navy.
When we came to the sailors, it all went back to Rodney then. And that got me. I've got pictures of Rodney, you know, in his sailor suit. And it was almost too much for me.
I had a Marine emblem on there, and he saluted me. And I thought, how great that was.
It was on to the World War II Memorial, more pictures, and a group shot destined to become a cherished piece of family history. Even though World War II was fought so long ago, the memorial came long after the Vietnam and Korean War memorials. Finished almost 8 years ago, 56 granite pillars celebrate the unity of our nation. Each state and territory from that period and the District of Columbia represented by a pillar. And our vets headed straight for Oklahoma. I saw a little boy talking to one of the Southwest Oklahoma veterans. After he turned away, the boy wanted to continue the conversation. Everywhere you looked, kids from all over the United States were talking with and asking to take pictures with these 80 and 90-year-old heroes. Nobody planned it this time. It just happened.
Little kids come up and ask to have their picture taken with you.
Everywhere they went, people were talking to our veterans as if they knew them. It was a day filled with memories. No stop on this trip down memory lane triggered emotion like the nearly 300,000 graves at Arlington National Cemetery.
When we lost a plane load of the boys, and we worked so hard, and they were conscious, and we lost every one of them. We worked through the night. They were just kids. It was almost too much to take, really.
As they exited the buses, there was an impromptu celebration. Students from Cypress Christian School in Houston, Texas, at the end of a week-long trip in Washington, showed their appreciation with applause, handshakes, and even a hug.
There was 52 of them from Houston, and I said I shook 52 hands.
It made me feel real good.
This young man was overcome with emotion. His grandfather served in World War II, but died before he was born. It's almost as if on this special day, he was able to reach out and touch the grandfather he respects so much, but never knew. One final stop before heading back to the airport. Gunner waited all day for this one moment that he will remember all the days of his life. He was on that rock they call Iwo Jima when the Marines raised that flag. 2 weeks later, he was injured, 3 days before his 19th birthday.
Yeah, that was part of me. To know that I was there. And I did make it through. That was something very, very special to me.
When they returned to Lawton Fort Sill Regional Airport, they were greeted like the heroes they are, surrounded by loved ones who will, no doubt, hear the stories from this day till there are no more days for these humble veterans. And those kids from Cypress Christian say that meeting the Southwest Oklahoma veterans was the highlight of their trip. And by the way, they also went to the White House. For more information on Oklahoma Honor Flights or to make a donation, visit oklahomahonorflights.org.
Scott.
Ashley, Cody Yancey spent 8 years in the Army, and then one day he was visiting his brother near the Duke University campus in North Carolina, and he walked out of a bar and literally saw his future. Sounds like a joke. A man walks out of a bar and sees his future, but this is no joke, and what he saw was a hot dog stand. Sounds simple. You just buy a cart, buy some dogs, and you're in business.
Well, I thought it'd be real easy. I just, tell the city I was going to set up and start doing it, and turns out you have to have an ordinance in place before you can start setting up these types of operations. We've got sauerkraut, jalapeno.
The process took 13 months. Cody was running out of money, but he didn't want to give up on his dream. For 4.5 years, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, you can count on Cody and his hot dogs.
Always here. When it snows, rains, constantly. And he comes here 9 every night.
Yeah, take your time. I'm just going to get the buns ready.
Serving customers with a smile till 3 a.m. And business is good.
I've grown every year by more and more. It keeps getting better and better. I've added a second cart with a little bit different food items, and customers keep coming back.
It's not just a hot dog cart, it's his full-time business, and he cares for his customers.
I only have 30 seconds to a minute with each customer, but in that 30 seconds to a minute, I do try to establish a relationship with them, and they come back, and I remember their face.
Faces aren't the only thing this hot dog king remembers.
I remember a lot of people's orders. I probably have over 1,000 orders in my head. I may not know the customer's name, but as soon as I see their face, I know exactly what they order. And that means a lot to some people.
Well, here on Dixon Street tonight, there are people from all over the country because of the Joe Martin stage race. Some of them are telling tales of hot dog carts in New York, New Orleans, and elsewhere. There are two things you can count on here on Dixon Street. The bars will close at 2 a.m., and the hot dog cart will be open when they do. Reporting live in Fayetteville from Dixon Street, Scott Miller, 5 News.
Got himself a snack.